It could be a big night for LeBron and the Lakers, a win over another title contender, and they will lock up the top seed in the West. That would be a first on our air. Let's do it, fellas. Live from the NBA campus in Orlando, it's a potential NBA Finals preview as the Lakers take on the Toronto Raptors, #1 in the West versus the current #2 seed in the East. Tip-off at 5:30 right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Chris McGee. Hall of Famer is big game James Worthy, a champion, a two-time All-Star, 14 years in the league. Tough juice, Karan Butler. What's up, Karan?
What's happening? It feels good to be back in the studio.
It is good. We have Allie, we have Brez, we have Trudell also in the show, but we have not seen you in studio since the Lakers' last game before the shutdown. We missed you. How are you, and how fired up are you for the restart in Laker basketball?
You know what? I'm excited. You know, I miss you guys as well. You know, been around, doing a lot of things from a social standpoint. I know we're going to get to it later in the show, but just, you know, happy to see the bubble functioning at a high capacity right now and the games being extremely good.
I know I speak for all of us. Your voice has been incredible. You and James were talking before the show about all you've been doing, and we will get into that later for sure. In case you missed it, LeBron and Anthony Davis put on a show in the Lakers restart game against the Clippers. AD was unstoppable from all over the court, scoring a game-high 34. He hit 16 of 17 free throws, but it all came down to LeBron at the end, getting his own miss for the go-ahead bucket with 12 seconds left, and then on the defensive end, putting the clamps down on the Clippers' two biggest stars in Kawhi and Paul George. The Lakers win. 30-point performance by the Brow put LeBron and Anthony Davis amongst one of the greatest Laker duos of all time. They are only the second pairing to have 20 or more 30-point games each since 1970. That's a long time ago. Kobe and Shaq accomplished the feat back in the 2002-2003 season. So big game, James. An amazing stat for the great Laker duo. Let's start with the Brow. 20 30-point games for Anthony Davis, and he showed his dominance Thursday night against the Clippers in a game where LeBron didn't have a big offensive night.
Yeah, didn't score till the second quarter was his first score. But in the first quarter, he was doing a good job of trying to get other people involved, knowing that, you know, the Clippers had a defensive scheme for him. So he's very smart, kind of sought the game out, got other people involved. And then I think we talked about in the third quarter, around the 7-minute mark, when they came back, LeBron came back in the game, and they started a comeback. So his leadership and his tenacity is what's showing up in these games.
I just think that when he plays at this rate, at this capacity, he did everything in there on that platform besides officiate the game. He was rebounding the basketball. He was being great offensively, and he gave LeBron that much-needed break when he needed it. And that's why he was able to have that extra energy, that to go after that second chance opportunity to close that game right there, and then have the legs to be active defensively, the best defense I've seen, you know, down the stretch from LeBron James in 3 years, and he's had a solid year on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, on that last defensive play, most players would just kind of try to be safe and lay back. LeBron was smart enough to know that that doesn't work with Paul George. He got up on him, quickly pressured him, made him, you know, create a shot that was uncomfortable. And that's just being around, knowing what to do. Otherwise, Paul George was hot. He was getting ready to bounce and pull up for that three. And you just can't let guys relax. And LeBron knew that.
I like the bounce.
You like the bounce?
The bounce. What was he about to do to the side?
Before we get to LeBron, when you look at Anthony Davis and you see him as a big, going 16 of 17 from the free throw line, Karan, we've seen it all year long. He's the best free throw shooter for the Lakers. How valuable is that, especially down the stretch, especially in the playoffs?
It's extremely valuable because he's unguardable. He's unmatchable. Like, you can't throw something at him that he haven't seen. And he's done it for years just in a smaller market. And now the world is starting to see it because he's playing for the Lake Show. So it's amazing to have him on this side and then playing with the best player on the planet.
Big game. Glad you brought up LeBron. He always shows why he should be in every single MVP discussion. Was not his best game, as we all pointed out, in terms of the offensive flow, right? He scored his double-digit points. It wasn't until late in the third quarter when he hit that three. But when it mattered most, in the clutch moment, he gets his own rebound, bucket, and then the defense at the end.
Yeah, mind over matter. You know, fatigue, he pushes through that. Recognition of what's going on during the game. First quarter, it's like this. Second quarter, it's like this. Third quarter, you know, it warms up. They come back. fourth quarter, it's crunch time. So your mindset goes different, places during the game. And he knew during that game, when you think about it, he and Caruso are kind of the same. LeBron at a late stage of his career and Caruso at the early part of his career. In that fourth quarter, that plus minus of what he can do on both ends, defensively, blocking shots, chasing down players, getting up on Paul George, all that stuff is incredible for a player that age.
Karan, the all-time greats, it just doesn't matter what they do all game. They're always going to have a say at the end.
I just like the fact that no matter what, offensively, if you don't have it going early, you find a way to impose your will on the game and the outcome, and that's exactly what LeBron James did down the stretch.
Now, for more on tonight's matchup with the defending champs, the Raptors, let's check in with Lakers reporter Mike Trudell. Michael, what's up?
Hey, guys, nice to see you. What's happening, Geeter? What's happening, folks? So the first thing I wanted to get to with Frank Vogel, guys, was how did they react to the rotation getting increased for the first time in terms of minutes? We know that in the scrimmage game, guys played less, right? So LeBron, 15 minutes in the opener, then 25 minutes in the second. So they did resemble more of a regular season format when they went against the Clippers. So that's where we started with Frank Vogel and then got to a couple other things as well. Here's the head coach.
Yeah, we did have some guys that reported some soreness from playing that many minutes in a high intensity game for the first time. And, that's just part of the reintegration process, the restart process. I don't think we'll adjust. It's just something that's part of guys getting used to playing these minutes again.
Frank, just wondered with that second unit grouping that you've been using with Caruso and then Kuz and Dion, obviously didn't get a chance to play together until Dion joined. But what could that group do for you, and why do you think that it's been effective so far in this limited sample size?
Yeah, well, you got three guys right there that can all shoot and put the ball on the floor and attack the paint. And if they're playing the right way, trying to touch the paint and, playing paint to great basketball, playing extra pass basketball, we're going to do a lot of things offensively. And, we just got to make sure we can defend on the other end because we're fairly small. But that group did a good job with that the other night.
Is there any lineup things for us to be aware of going into tonight?
Not really. It'll be similar to the other night. I'm still looking for opportunities to get JR and Markieff more minutes. But I'm also cognizant of trying to get Alex and KCP comfortable playing bigger roles. Obviously, those guys are going to pick up a little bit of the slack defensively with Avery being out. And, I want them both comfortable playing 20-plus minutes. So just some things I'm looking at in terms of getting guys minutes.
All right, guys, so that's the good news as you look at the Lakers with their magic number at 1. They can use these next 7 games to fine-tune everything that they want before the August 17th playoff opener. And again, that's a luxury that really nobody else has except for the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference. And Frank Vogel's going to do some playing around until they figure out what the best way to get that rotation moving forward is, guys.
All right, good stuff, Mike. Thanks. Lakers and Raptors coming up tonight in Orlando. You'll see it here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Dwight Howard has been one of the most efficient bigs in the game, 73% shooting on the year, but he did not take any shots in Thursday's win. And next on Access, Perez and Ali join us to discuss what's next for the Lakers heading into tonight's game against the defending NBA champs.
Access Sportsnet Lakers is brought to you in part by Wingstop, the official wings of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Wednesday and a back-to-back with the Rockets on Thursday. All games right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Let's bring in Allie Clifton, our Laker insider, Mike Bresnahan with more. Allie?
Thanks so much, Geeter. Isn't technology amazing? As we dive into our three-point play, 3 things that our Lakers insider, Mike Bresnahan, is looking forward to in tonight's game. And we are starting on the Kuz bus. Kyle Kuzma in game 1 the other night looked great. Brez, what stood out to you most?
Yeah, Allie, thank you for pointing out the Kuz bust. It's been a while since we've talked about it on our air. Kuz was kind of sliding a little bit. Going into the shutdown, he had kind of a tough few weeks shooting-wise. That was not the case in his restart game. I thought he was really sharp. These guys already talked about LeBron and AD. I would say Kuz might have been their 3rd best player. Look at the numbers right there, 16 points. Very good from 3-point range. How important will that be for the Lakers? As we've talked about on these shows, they are not the most consistent 3-point shooting team in the NBA. Another thing I like from Kuz, 7 rebounds. Now, when he was kind of struggling with his shot back in February and March, he decided, I'm going to play better defense and also rebound the ball a little bit better. He is committed to that. Loved what he did going after the ball in that restart game against the Clippers.
No doubt, showing he can do a little bit of everything. Number 2, he was your number 2 point on Thursday against the Clippers, and he is tonight against the Raptors as well. KCP.
Yeah, KCP, not as strong of a restart game. Played 29 minutes, didn't really do much during it. 6 points, a couple assists, a rebound, did not make a three-pointer, and the Lakers are going to want more from KCP. Okay, the minutes were definitely there. That's the good sign. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do defensively, too. Obviously, big potential pickup for him today. Might have Kyle Lowry, the perennial all-star for Toronto. And it's going to be all eyes on KCP, with the fact that, as we know, he has replaced Avery Bradley in the Lakers starting lineup. So KCP, a little bit of a slow start. We'll see if he can kind of get it going against the Raptors.
So for the Lakers as a whole, 7 games left in this restart before the playoffs begin, including tonight. What is it you will have your eye on over the next stretch of games for the Purple and Gold?
Yeah, Coach Frank Vogel, he's done a great job throughout the season, kind of knowing when to motivate them, knowing when to lay off them. Now the next 7 games, the Lakers, thanks to beating the Clippers the other night, just need to win 1 of those games. So Frank the Tank has kind of an interesting dilemma, all right? Does he want to kind of keep the guys in game shape, keep them playing heavy minutes? Or does he want to, take the foot off the gas a little bit and say, all right, AD, LeBron, a couple other starters, you can take a little bit of time off. But it's a nice big picture dilemma with the Lakers having beat the Clippers the other night, can kind of coast over the next couple weeks. It'll be at Frank Vogel's discretion based on playing time. We'll see what he comes up with. When you and I talked to him yesterday, Allie, he was a little non-committal. He said it will be a game-by-game basis.
Rez, you are the man. Frank the Tank, the highlight of that three-point play.
Had to work it in there.
Hey, hey, Geeter, back over to you.
Thank you, Allie. Lakers and Raptors are coming up at 5:30 from Orlando. I'm not sure what Siakam is doing here, but it seems to be working. When he scores at least 17 points, the Raptors are 36-5 this season. They're strong numbers. Next on Access, we'll take you to the Rose Bowl, where fans are getting ready for the Lakers watch party for tonight's game.
We are underway. Throw it down, JaVale. Follow slam by Anthony Davis. LeBron James. Here's Patterson, gets inside, and all of a sudden it's an 11-point lead and yet another Laker timeout. LeBron's going to cast off 4-3. Lob, 80 the finish. 82 in a row, and the Lakers are back in the lead. He hits that three-pointer. DG for 3. And the Lakers are back up in double digits. That's what happens. The three-pointer. George hits the 3. Wants control of it. Here he goes all the way, scoring. Caruso, what a great defensive play by Alex. Paul George deep to tie. 101. Here's LeBron, leans in short, gets it back and scores. And the Lakers have won it on opening night of the NBA restart.
It's time to welcome in another member of our team, Kirsten Watson, who is at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. What is going on? You are back from Florida, here in LA. We missed you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back. So I am here, like you said, at the Rose Bowl at the season ticket holders watch party for the game tonight. So as you can see behind me, there are cars lined up on both sides of the screen where fans can watch the game from the comfort of their cars. The Lakers expect to have about 400 fans and about 2,400 people here tonight to watch the game together to cheer on the guys in Orlando. And I spoke with Veronica earlier today, the VP of Sales and Tickets, to learn more about tonight's event.
As soon as the pandemic hit, we started to figure out ways that, and just brainstorming ways that we could engage with our fans. And the bubble opportunity gave us a perfect opportunity to have a drive-in and have some fun with our fans again. We look at the Lakers as part of the community, just not a sports team. And so engaging with our fans and our season ticket members all year round has always been important to us, particularly so right now.
The fans have been really antsy. We've been talking with them a lot whenever the team wasn't playing and when we were in Orlando. So I expect a lot of passionate season ticket members more than anything. And we have a little over 400 cars coming tonight. So definitely excited to see just the fandom. I think that we have a lot of people with Laker gear, and they said that they're ready to roll. They're excited to see a Laker game, even if it's from their car. So I think that's what we're expecting.
How have you guys come up with ways throughout tonight to kind of engage with the fans?
It's been difficult. You know, right before that first game got canceled in March, we kind of had a feeling this might happen. So we've been brainstorming for a couple months now. We have a lot of Zoom calls with our team, and we just have hours of brainstorming. So this was something we had hoped to do whenever we started, and we were really fortunate that the Rose Bowl was able to help us out.
So this is the first of 2 watch parties for season ticket holders, and so the second one will be on August 8th, when the Lakers take on the Pacers. So the second half of all the season ticket holders, if they did not get the opportunity tonight, they'll definitely have it next weekend. Back to you guys.
I have a question. Are they playing the pregame show out there?
I will be honest, it's
please.
not behind me right now, but that doesn't mean they can't have it in their cars.
Okay.
They can connect through an app to listen to the broadcast and everything.
Hey, by the way, we're going to have that fixed by next week, Karan.
Yeah.
By next week. And I love this, by the way. Veronica and the Lakers doing a phenomenal job. Have fun out there. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Kirsten Watson. Lakers and Raptors are about 30 minutes away from tip-off. From the bubble, a bit of a reunion for Danny Green tonight. He won a ring with Toronto last year. He was second in the NBA, making 46% from 3. Later, we'll hear from Danny about facing his former teammates. And next on Access, players around the league made statements before and after games this week to show their stance on social injustice. Ahead, we'll hear what LeBron and others had to say about this. Locked arm in arm in solidarity to make a statement against social injustice and systemic racism. It was a moment that originally started with 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick. LeBron James wanted the former NFL QB to see it.
I hope we made Cap proud. I hope we continue to make Cap proud. You know, every single day. I hope I make him proud on how I live my life, not only, you know, out on the basketball floor, but off the floor. You know, I've been one to always speak out about things that I feel like that's unjust, and I always, you know, if I'm educated on things, I always, you know, go about it that way. So, you know, Cat was someone who stood up when times wasn't comfortable, where people didn't understand, people refused to listen, and I did, and a lot of my people, you know, in the black community did listen, and we just thank him for sacrificing, you know, everything that he did to put us in a position today, even, you know, years later, to be able to have that moment like we had tonight.
The hardest thing that happened to me in the game today was kneeling for 2 minutes, like my knee hurt. And in the middle of it, I'm thinking, in 2 minutes, my knee is hurting. Yet there was a guy that had his knee on someone's neck for 8 minutes. Think about that. The national anthem took 2 minutes. There were guys that needed towels and things to get under their knees. And yet, someone kneeled on another human being's neck for 8 minutes. That's nuts when you think about it.
That's one thing that our country is lacking right now, and that's unity. You know, we've been such a divided country for so many years, and I think for us, the platform that we have and everyone in the world watching us right now, I think it's important for us to show that unity.
Yeah, I was proud to do it. Proud to support our players. Proud to support the African American community. You know, and proud to support racial justice. You know, we've got the greatest country in the world, but we're flawed. You know, and you know, protesting the way we did, you know, is patriotic. Nonviolent protests are patriotic. You know, that's what we learned from John Lewis. And you know, for me to be able to be a part of that, you know, to support racial justice the way we did, I'm very proud to be a part of it. It's not about disrespecting the flag or the military. Nobody supports the military as much as the NBA with the programs that we have. You know, it was just something I was proud to be a part of.
Karan, you've been one of the faces, leaders for the NBA in the fight for social justice. You wrote an amazing, powerful piece for The Athletic. I want to ask you this, for the Players Tribune. How and why did you come up with the title, This Is a We Thing?
You know, I was thinking about, you know, my grandparents, and I was thinking about coming from Columbus, Mississippi, and working in the cotton fields, and, you know, that long history of oppression and trauma. And, you know, the conversations that traditionally happen in our community are amongst us. But I felt like the conversation had to broaden. And in order for us to move the needle in social justice and real change, it had to come from the collectives. So people from all walks of life had to be engaged in this discussion.
See that picture right there? That's you and your son. He plays basketball at UC Irvine. Sharing that experience with him, what was that like?
It was wild because, you know, you see generations of people on the front line, you know, out there marching and protesting peacefully. But he actually came to me and said, Dad, we need to go out to Hollywood and Vine. You know, in the midst of a pandemic, I was like, you know, I'm subject not to move anywhere, but this is something that needs to happen.
What was that like for you guys being out there with everyone?
It was just, it was powerful because it was far more than just a march. You know, people protesting and walking with their fist up. It was, you know, just a real movement for, you know, trauma being swept under the rug for quite some time. And it was an educational experience for a lot of people because conversations was being had, you know, talking about how did we get to this point, and most importantly, like, what is the specific call to action?
Yeah, speaking of sweeping under the rug, my mom used to always say, when you make a mess, you got to clean it up. And the reason I'm saying that is because of the lack of education throughout history. I didn't learn anything about Black history until I got to college. That was 1982. Do you feel like some of your projects are taking on some of that challenge to teach young people and as well as adults the history and, you know, making them more knowledgeable of what's happened in the past and what's currently happening?
Absolutely. Like with the Vera Institute, what we do is we try to educate first from a grassroots level. Myself, you know, I've written middle grade books that I'm personally publishing over the next 3 years to educate and inform from my lenses, and also telling the stories from people from different walks of life so you can get that broad perspective. You know what I mean? Because I think that's important. You want to be informed and educated because we all have platforms, some bigger than others, but you want to definitely make sure that it comes from an educated place.
I want to ask you both this as former NBA players. When you see the show of solidarity from NBA players during the national anthem, what goes through your head?
Well, I think we talked about this a little bit. You know, there was a time when an athlete couldn't say anything. You know, we can name the athletes, Muhammad Ali, you know, protesting. You know, we've even had some in the NBA that prayed and were blackballed out because of their religion. So I think because of video and because of the consciousness of the diversity of people now, I think more people believe the stories that my brothers told or that my fathers may have told that nobody really believes. And I think now the consciousness is there, the diversity is there. You have white people, you have Black people, you have a spectrum of people that are part of the movement. Martin Luther King had that as well, but it wasn't as dominant. It didn't have the, you know, the social, digital Facebook and all the Twitter and all that stuff to make it strong. So it's just a beginning, but it's an outstanding start.
I grew up in a household where my grandmother had pictures of Malcolm X, Mandela, Martin Luther King up, and then she had this amazing portrait of the 1967 Cleveland Summit of those athletes, of Jim Brown and Kareem and Bill Russell. And I was just like, you know what? This is one of those moments where politically you cannot be correct. You have to draw a line in the sand and stand on the right side of justice. So that's what this is all about. This is what the movement is all about.
I appreciate you saying that. And James, both of you guys, there are still people that don't understand the kneeling for the national anthem. Just look at social media. It's an ugly place. But they won't watch anymore. They don't understand it. What is your message to them, and how do you educate them?
You know, when I think about the anthem, because people are not kneeling for the countless lives that sacrifice for us to have the best possible future going forward. You're kneeling for what the anthem represents: liberty and justice for all. And when that isn't happening, when equality isn't happening across the board for everybody, it's a problem. And I'm glad that guys are taking it personal and they're informing themselves and making sure that, you know what, we're not going to let this fall by the wayside.
Yeah,
James, it's hard to change people's minds.
It is, and people want to see what they want to see, but it's never been about the flag.
Yeah.
It's never been about the flag. It's been about someone's, knee on someone's neck. Someone getting shot in the back while running away, and then the police try to stage it where, and they didn't know they were on video. There's the contracts have been broken over and over. Rodney King, we saw that. 30 years later, that contract has been broken. And I think people are really tired and frustrated because how many times do we have to see it to believe it? And, we respect the flag. We lived under this flag. But this flag has been around for a long time. And, there were some things that happened under the flag that, a lot of people don't agree with. So it's never been about the flag. And I wish people would just say what they mean instead of blaming it on the flag. I respect that more than saying, oh, the flag. It's not about the flag.
I'm with you 100% on that. Is there a sense of pride? And I know we've been through some tough times, and there has to be a change. That's why we're going through this. But when you see black athletes, white athletes, men, women, all different races, that they're together on this in sports, is there a sense of pride? Do you ever think you'd see that?
I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. I used to see marches that was, kind of box marches, massive, but kind of box still relative to the scope of the world. You saw Dr. King with Selma and so many other things, in the South at the Washington Monument. You saw Malcolm X and his movements, but never have in my lifetime have I seen across 50 states, across 18 countries, a massive movement like this. And it's people from all walks of life. So that let me know that these private institutions, they're engaged financially, they're committed, and I think that that's when real change starts to happen.
I don't want to leave this conversation without you talking about what you're doing right now. You're on the board of directors for Vera Institute of Justice, vera.org. Tell us about that quickly when you can.
The main thing is, we're an umbrella that address immigration reform, justice reform, all social issues. And I think that, because of my personal experience and my personal connection to those things, when you talk about, incarceration, mass incarceration, and things like that, I like to start at the grassroots level. Make sure from a county standpoint, from a city standpoint, from a government standpoint, all the way up to the top from a presidential election, that people that represent us that are in these elected positions represent our causes, our needs. And, that's the main thing for us, to make sure that these elected officials are held accountable.
Keep doing the work.
Thank you, brother.
Really appreciate it, Karan. Back on March 11th, when the NBA season announced the suspension due to COVID-19, many thought that this dream season for LeBron and the Lakers was over. But after 111 days, the league was on the road to a restart, and the Lakers opened their doors at the UCLA Health Training Center. Our backstage cameras were there when LeBron got officially back to work for the first time.
Grab my slides.
Yeah, right there. Leave your slips over there.
Do I put them back in there?
Yeah. And then you can put your stuff down, just walk downstairs in the building. The lights are for phones and keys if we're keeping it inside.
For the first time in his storied career, LeBron James is leading the league in assists late in the season. As the Lakers adjust to new protocols, they receive some extra behind-the-scenes help as well. As different as the adjustments may be, some things remain the same.
What up, LJ? What up, dog? What's going on? How y'all? Slow motion.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm just calling to say good morning to you, that's all.
Awesome.
What's up? Great to see you going on.
You can catch a brand new episode of the original series Backstage Lakers on Thursday following our post-game coverage of Rockets-Lakers. You'll hear from head coach Frank Vogel mic'd up at practice in Orlando and go behind the scenes of the Lakers' first game of the restart against the Clippers. That's Backstage Lakers. It won another Emmy, shocker, and it's only here on Spectrum Sports. We're getting closer to tip-off in Orlando. Lakers and Raptors. Kyle Lowry having a great year. Did not play in the first meeting back in November. Picked up his scoring by more than 5 points per game from a season ago, from 14 to nearly 20. He's very good. Plus, Kyle Kuzma made a big impact in the Lakers' win against the Clippers. Ahead, we'll break down Kuz's big performance.
Access Sportsnet Lakers.